Would you take just a moment, talk a little bit about what your campaign stands for and some of those opportunities where you've been able to take a bold stand to represent the progressive values and the idea of a New Deal, if you will?
Sure. Glad to do that. You know, we talk about the New Deal, you call it the New Deal 2.0, and really the New Deal is the old deal, right? We're just trying to bring back the old deal and resuscitate it to fit today's parameters. And we've got those basic needs that are not being met today in society. We've got healthcare that is not being met and not affordable for far too many people. I've termed healthcare a right. Neither of my opponents have labeled it as such, and it is the way I see it. It is the way the majority of Americans see it, and I also have termed housing as a right, and affordable housing as a right, and I also think that we ought to be properly fed with nutritional food, not junk food, and I also believe that we should have a free and equal education for everyone in the country that wants it. And that includes free college and or vocational training. We have a big gap that's growing every year in with the lack of enough vocational or blue collar workers, if you will. So these are basically the broad parameters. We need to have an infrastructure that works for all of us to be able to commute and commute in a way that doesn't inhibit us or harm us. And a green energy platform that doesn't subsidize the fossil fuel industry, but instead empowers homeowners with incentivizing them with a tax structure that promotes renewable energy both at home. I've been an outspoken supporter of locally here of a project here which put the largest offshore wind turbines here in off the coast of Martha's Vineyard, Cape Cod here with Vineyard Wind, and pretty excited to see that happening. And New Bedford is benefiting from that tremendously. So we just need to keep moving along those lines and keep moving this country away from our dependency on fossil fuels. And the other thing that I have proposed, and I haven't heard anyone else talk about, but people seem to like it, is my federal wage gap guarantee, which is a geo-indexed minimum wage, which is a living wage, not a poverty wage. People talk about a $15 minimum wage like it's the be all and end all. In fact, in Massachusetts, it's still a poverty wage. In Massachusetts, the living wage calculates out to, by my calculations, a little bit over $19 an hour. And we're currently at $11 an hour here, minimum wage in Massachusetts. And California, that works out to about $21 an hour. So with my geo-targeted minimum wage concept, it does not in any way hurt small business employers, because that gap between where the minimum wage is and where the geo-targeted amount needs to be is 100% funded by the federal government, and all the fees associated with that, for example, the Social Security matching, state unemployment insurance, workers comp insurance, all those extra fees would be also handled by the government. But the net result is that you have now people working not at a poverty wage, but at a true living wage that coincides with what they need to be earning in their part of the country. And just think about the millions of dollars that will circulate back into the economy, helping small and large businesses all over the land. And I'm pretty excited about that. And of course, it's no surprise that modern monetary theory plays a huge role in making that happen. And the worst part about modern monetary theory for me is the theory part. I hate the fact that it's called a theory, because as we all know that we talk about this, it's not a theory, it's the way it is. And I have been talking about that at every opportunity. recently I was interviewed at by the editorial staff of the Standard Times here in New Bedford. We're still anxiously awaiting their publication. But of course, it came up when they looked at my platform. They said, "This is great. How are you going to pay for it?" And we went into the process of MMT not calling it by name until the end, until they really pushed the issue.
Well, it's interesting that you say that. We can title this different things. I mean, there's folks out there that simply call it modern money. There's other folks that call it monetary sovereignty. There's a lot of different ways of stating the same thing. The idea of theory was actually in a Bill Mitchell Billy blog, where some commenter dubbed it modern monetary theory. And as Kelton says, there's really nothing modern about it, and there's very little that's theoretical. Modern monetary theory dates further back than economics. It's really just an operations manual for how a free-floating sovereign fiat currency works, like step-by-step tracing through the balance sheet. So you are on the right track, my friend.
I'm Steve Grumbine with Real Progressives. Please donate, please volunteer, and please be a part of us moving forward. Thank you very much and have a great night, everyone.